standing with us as we observe a moment of silence for all those that are in uniform, all of those that are in public safety, and keep your thoughts and prayers on everybody, especially in the region, as there are some challenging issues that are occurring right near home here right now. So keep all those in your thoughts as well. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible. Thank you. Okay. Spring has definitely sprung, that's for sure.
A lot of leaves on the trees,
How
that's
many
good.
times you all mowed your grass?
Twice.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
As soon as you cut it, it's like right back up again this time of year, so. That's from that vast experience of my lawn care business I had. Priority Carol. Because it was such a resounding issue with you, Commissioner Frazier, I'm going to start with you again this week. Because you don't like to go
Okay.
last, so I'm starting with you again. Now, this
I
too
love
shall
going
change,
last.
but right now, you're
Okay.
going first.
I just want to mention I was at the graduation for the drug court yesterday. Commissioner Wentz was here as well.
Yep.
It's a tremendous program done by Carroll County. I think we're the first ones in the state to do it. Other counties are now following suit with this. And the reason that they are is because the people that graduate from drug court, the majority of them, I don't remember the percentage, but it's a very high percentage, don't have another run-in with the law. So it's tremendous. It's good for these people. The amazing thing is, and from this one, from all the ones that I've been to in the past, it's about a 13-month program. That's as quick as you can get through it. But it doesn't mean you have to get done in 13 months. Just like when you go to college, you don't have to graduate in 4 years. Some people take 8 and 10. There was a gentleman there yesterday who took almost 3 years to get through the program, but he got through the program, and that's the important thing. And with this, it gives them a step onto a more productive life. But I think it's a great thing. It's a great asset that we have here, and that's why I try to continually make these graduations.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. I will echo that. We had the room covered. You had one side and I had the
Right.
other. And it's also amazing to see those that have graduated before come back because they always recognize those folks that have graduated in that drug court program. And there were quite a few there yesterday in support of those. Might have been the smallest group that we've had in quite some time, I think, Dennis.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Seven,
Yeah,
perhaps? I think it was
seven
seven. But to hear the testimonies and, how it's changed their lives is really remarkable. So I echo everything that you said there. So.
I'd like
Commissioner
to,
Rothstein.
Good morning. I'd like to
morning.
give a shout out to, it's actually a multi-pronged shout out. First is the Freedom Area Lions Club, as they hosted last night a Veterans Appreciation Dinner. We had a packed house of about 100 folks in the room. Commissioner Weaver, Delegate Krebs, both being Lions themselves as I am, were also in attendance. And our keynote was Secretary George Owings, Maryland VA Secretary. The acknowledgement that the Secretary gave to our county and our county team should not go unnoticed. And it starts with the county itself, with both Christine Kay and Celine, who were in attendance, and the team that they put together in DCS, focused on our veterans, from our veteran support officers, and programs that we have to have veterans shuttle services. It really is second to none in the state. And the Secretary acknowledged that as being a model to the other jurisdictions, that no one is doing what we're doing. It's not about the flagpoles and plaques, it's about service that we provide. And that was shared last night. Recognizing that we have saved over $14 million since the beginning of these programs back to the county. We have serviced 800-plus veterans last year. We will be well over 800-plus this year. Still not enough, but we are definitely doing the right things with the right momentum And the last comment is, it really does take an entire team from the county government to the nonprofits that we recognize, those service organizations like the American Legion, VFW, and those in the community, along with the new one, the Carroll County Veterans Independence Program, or project, excuse me, and then also the community at large, coming together, focusing on our veterans. So, you know, it's a priority of mine, dealing with our veterans. It was a great opportunity to recognize that last night in a couple hours with Mission Barbecue feeding us, which I can never complain to. So, just a great evening. I just want to recognize that, so.
Excellent. Commissioner Weaver?
Well, going to piggyback, Commissioner Rothstein did a great job at introducing Secretary Owens. And one major thing I took out of it, if you're a veteran in Carroll County, please get on veterans.maryland.gov every other week, check what's going on. Things change and programs change bi-weekly almost, and so that please check out those websites, what benefits they've earned or put out there, and there's even some of the things I learned about last night from Secretary Owens I didn't know existed for veterans in Carroll County. So please check out that website if you can. It's veterans.maryland.gov.
Yep.
And nice job.
Thanks.
I'd like to give special recognition to Fred Hecker, who's in charge of the drug court. It takes an exceptional judge to be compassionate and manage the epidemic we're faced with as a community. Also, I'd like to give recognition to retiring Judge Barry Hughes, was a Governor Ehrlich appointment. He has served this county well. Hope he enjoys his retirement. And I would also like to make a plug for the Union Bridge Duck Derby again, May 11th. So please remember the Duck Derby up in Union Bridge. Show those people some love.
Buy a duck.
That's correct. Buy a duck.
Buy a duck, or several ducks. Quickly, for me, a couple things. We did finish work on our proposed budget, and I want to again thank all of those that were involved in that. It took a yeoman's effort to get where we were based upon where we started, and I want to thank everyone across county government that assisted. Not only Ted, who's sitting in the back of the room, and his group of spectacular analysts, Deb, and all of the folks over there, but everyone. This was the hardest budget that we've been through. Now, we've got some additional steps to take, but initially, I'd like to thank them for all the hard work, and thank my colleagues for all the hard work that occurred as a result of getting to that. Just a couple things that are coming up, actually, all of them tomorrow that I'll be attending and representing Carroll on. Shout out to the Union Mills Homestead. Tomorrow they're going to be recognizing their 50th anniversary of their flower and plant event that they have, and it's supposed to rain. So I hope that's not an omen of things to come, because everything that they tried last year got rained out. So hopefully it won't rain. I think it's supposed to be nice on Saturday, so their event is Friday and Saturday. But tomorrow we're going to be recognizing twice. Actually, we're going to recognize them at noon, and then I think one of our legislators or somebody's coming at 5 to give a proclamation as well. I want to also give a shout out to the Historical Society. They are celebrating their 80th anniversary, and we'll be attending events in reference to them over the weekend. And finally, to an elementary school in my district, Runnymede Elementary School, that sits between Westminster and Tawnytown. They've been doing a walk for Carroll County Food Sunday for many years, and they've raised well over, I think they're approaching $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, I think. I'm not sure the exact figure, but it's amazing what they've done up there. And the kids, the whole elementary school gets out and has an hour that they walk and get sponsors for their walk. And I wanted to give a shout out to them for the effort that they provide. So that's tomorrow, and I'll be walking several times up there. Rain date for that is Monday. So good things happening in Carroll. Spring has sprung, and there's many, many events to get to across the county. So certainly keep your eye on what they are, and we've got a spectacular new website now that lists a lot of those events. So if you haven't visited our website, I encourage you to do that. All right. Let's get into our agenda items for this morning. And the first is purchasing replacement HVAC rooftop units for the county office building. Justin? Justin's been jack of all trades. He was just out helping the guys pour the sidewalk, and now he's going to be putting HVAC units on the building, so. Maureen Dunn is here, and our project manager is also here. So good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
The need came up to replace the rooftop units here at the county office building, and we are recommending that we purchase a packaged rooftop cooling and heating units from Train USA in the amount of $150,021. And as you can see by your executive summary, it's going to cover 4 units of 27 half 50-ton package commercial rooftop, a portable Train Tracer TD5 controller, and time and material. To let you know that Train USA was awarded a contract through U.S. Communities by a competitively bid process, and this cost is within the project budget and no additional funds will be needed. So we are asking your recommendation or your approval for award to Train USA for the rooftop replacement HVAC units in the amount of $157,021.
Questions?
How old are the units that we have right now?
The age of these units are 22 years.
Yeah.
They've been on the roof for 22 years.
Train has a scroll compressor, don't they?
Correct.
So it wears in instead of wears out.
Correct.
Not that I'm quoting their taglines or anything. Pretty sure that's what they say.
It's hard to stop a train.
Right, there you go. That's my next comment.
And there's the commercial for the day. Okay.
But that just got us like $10,000 off the price, didn't it?
Yeah.
Should have.
The,
Go ahead.
the competitive bid process he went through, the criteria used in the competitive bid, you don't have the other vendors that were submitted, any, were there any other?
This was
bids?
bid through U.S. Communities, and I
Okay.
would have to look up who the other vendors that they awarded to.
Okay.
Because I believe there was more than one, but I believe Train and Justin can verify that. I think that's what we have up there now.
Mhm.
So we're replacing like with
Like for like.
So you were relying on U.S. Communities coming up with the best bid?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct.
Criteria that they used was similar to criteria you've been using? Lowest bid, best performance?
Yes, they go through the whole competitive process where their proposals are looked at and evaluated, and it's usually the top 3 that are chosen, but again, I would have to look at the U.S. Communities actual award, who they awarded to other than Train, because I believe there was more than one.
And we've used Train before,
Absolutely.
and they've been,
Gotten on board.
what's that?
So we've gotten on board.
Knock it off. Oh, my God.
These are the units that we purchased in the
Okay.
past.
Sorry.
Good.
Train.
Yeah, we've purchased train in the past. There's train units up on the roof right now.
That's right.
We went with train. It's direct replacement. It's going to be a quick turnaround. We did look at other options. Train had the best price. The other options would have entailed a little more structural engineering on the building, because it would have added about 10,000 extra pounds on that side of the building. And we weren't comfortable with adding that kind of weight on the existing building. And these units are located right over top of the 3rd floor commissioner's area.
So some folks would want the extra 10,000 pounds.
That's sort of an important. They're not near the executive pool up there, are they?
No.
Okay,
no.
so that's on the other
That's
side.
the other side.
Yeah, okay.
Spot.
All right. Any other questions on this project?
Make a motion, the Board of Commissioners award this purchase to Train US Incorporated for the rooftop replacement HVAC units in the amount of $157,021.
Second?
Okay, got a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. And now that we have them, we probably should install them.
Correct.
They weren't bid installed?
No.
So we'll turn that over
Got it.
again, Maureen.
Yes, we do need to install them. And what we have done was we went out to our term contractors and requested quotes for them to install these units. And Sagamore Mechanical Services came in with a low bid at $57,060. So we are asking for your concurrence and approval to award this job to Sagamore for the $57,060.
Okay. Questions for Justin or Thad on this one?
I say I'd like the fact that Sagamore's in Westminster, Maryland, so it's a local company, so I do appreciate that. But they did give the lowest bids, not that we're giving preference, but just
Yes,
worked
they
out.
did.
Just worked out for this one.
Correct.
What do we got on time that it's gonna take to take the old one down, put the new one up? What are you thinking?
This is scheduled for a 3-day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday operation. We'll be back in business Monday morning.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Your constituents.
It's a county. Okay, I move that the Board of Commissioners award the contract for the removal of 4 HVAC units and installation of 4 new HVAC units to be awarded to Sagamore Mechanical Services Incorporated in the amount of $57,060.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion and second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you, Commissioners.
Y'all have a
Good
great
job.
day.
You too.
Okay. Approval for use of term contracts for consultant construction inspection management services and professional land surveying services. Whew. That's a lot. That's a mouthful. Yeah, it's a mouthful, all right.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Doug, good morning.
Good morning.
Deb, good morning.
Doug Brown, Deputy Director, and Debbie Butler, our Bureau Chief of Engineering. Commissioners, this morning, we are before you because we, particularly within our Bureau of Engineering, have been faced with some challenges over the last month in losing a couple of our long-term managers out of the area. And so that we can keep up with our construction priorities and needs that were already scheduled and going on, we would like to use existing term contracts for consultant construction inspection management services as well as professional land surveying services. Now, you guys already know, but for our folks that are out there, we have survey, design, construction, inspection, and administration within the Bureau. And within those, we have faced some struggles over the months. We were without our design division manager for approximately 9 months. We thankfully just filled that position, and we are very blessed to have Mr. Sonny Cho in there doing that for us. He's been here about 2 weeks, and that's working out great. But at this point, we have yet to have success in filling our other 2 spots. Now, I will tell you that currently, within our survey manager position, Debbie is looking at some applicants, and we are hopeful that we will be able to find someone for that. However, it is not looking as promising yet for us in the construction manager position, and that, quite frankly, is our most pressing need. Our construction manager position was recently occupied by a gentleman you all know as Jim Murphin, and that this time of year is critical. We have ongoing construction projects now. Our paving is ramping up, our road treatments are ramping up, and this person, in addition to the investment of an employee, ultimately saves us money, time, and problems later on in the future by making sure that everything you all want and have approved is put in correctly and done correctly. So, obviously, the absence of staff right now has created a bit of a hardship, and to try to bridge this gap, until we can get someone hired and on board and provide continuity, we would like to use this firm. Now, Debbie obviously has any background into the firm as well as working for any specific questions that you have, so that's our initial.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
On this briefing sheet, you have in here on the third paragraph in background, $25,000 per month. But then on the fourth paragraph, you have $25,000 for the remainder of FY19.
Yes, sir. So the $25,000 per month is for the construction manager, and that one is a constant position. So that's 40 hours a week on site here in our county office building or out handling inspection services. Well, whereas Carroll Land Services is the use of a surveyor, and that's only as needed. So staff, Debbie and her staff, have taken on as much of that as we can. So the only time that we need to use those professional
Okay.
services is if we actually require a surveyor stamp.
$25,000 per month,
Yes,
especially for an individual, that's $625 per hour if they're working 40 hours. That's pretty extreme. Well, that is extreme, not pretty. Let's take the word pretty out of it.
Yeah.
That's extreme. I don't have the background and understanding the cost for this type of role, but $625 an hour to pay somebody here in Carroll County, you know, definitely, to me, raises a lot of red flags.
The surveying position, I have just sent them their first task that I'm asking them to review for some work in the county. They're also assisting me in a meeting on Friday, as we're talking about our design manual and some right-of-way standards and that types of thing. I mean, I agree, 25,000 is probably higher than what we're going to use for the surveying side. And we're able to fill in a lot of the duties from that position with some other staff, but not everything. I mean, if there's something that needs a licensed surveyor's seal on it, we don't have anybody else in the county that has
Yeah,
one.
But you're coming to us requesting $25,000 per month.
You're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Rothstein asked about the inspector, the management position,
Right.
the $25,000
Yeah.
per month. The surveyor is $25,000 for the rest of the fiscal year, which is just a few months from.
Right.
So, total, so expectation, and that would be up to 25,000. They don't have, I mean, necessarily
So
expect.
Certainly-
So there's two
surveyor-
different positions, right.
The surveyor's
Right.
up to, I
Up
got
to,
that.
right.
And I can
So the
handle,
question was.
Yeah.
that's more palatable.
and
What's
certainly,
not.
certainly the other one is, we,
Right.
beyond the control that we have, which is exactly why we're here in front of you. We need to bring this to you before we have. So the first thing is, we haven't reached the 25,000. We never would unless we got your approval first. And that the cost as those are associated are part of the term contract. It's a competitively bid term contract that is in place with county and our Bureau of Purchasing. If we need these types of services, we can. It is much of the overhead. So that particular employee that comes in here, I assure you, is not making that hourly rate, but it's part of the overhead as they cover the company, because we don't pay anything for them in regard to benefit. But,
The request here
Yes,
is
sir.
$25,000 per month
yes, sir,
for a specific
for
service.
those services.
That is $625 per hour.
Yes, sir.
I am hard pressed to understand how much overhead it takes to get a team. Now, I understand the concern about not having the right hires in place, having the workforce in place.
Yes, sir.
I'd rather be looking at money using to find the right people to put in place than a term contract for
Understood.
$625 an hour. I mean, just looking at the numbers.
Right.
Do they have any openings, first question I want to ask, for $6.25 an hour, I could switch jobs? But realistically.
It's not that much per hour, but
Yeah.
I'm not,
How
it
long-
doesn't, the math doesn't matter. It's a lot of money.
Right.
I
How long
agree with
has,
you.
do we have we had the openings? I mean.
Sure.
quite
So
a-
our construction manager position was originally posted on January the 25th for the first time. It was posted and then extended from January the 25th to March the 1st. And in that time, we had no hires. We then reposted it again.
Do we have
on-
any applicants?
We did have a few applicants. It was under 5, and we had no successful applicants from that. We then posted it again on April the 10th, and it remains posted to date. It's scheduled to be posted until 5/1, May 1st, and as of right now, I checked this morning before coming up, we've had 0 applicants.
When you said we had no successful applicants, does that mean we offered jobs, they didn't take them, or we didn't think they were qualified?
After
to take the
interviews
job?
not found to be qualified.
Okay.
Correct.
What's the starting salary of that position?
That one I did not.
That
pull
one I
up.
didn't bring either.
It is the base pay of a C3 13, I believe, yes. And I can get that for you. I don't have that right in front of me.
I apologize. I absolutely was misspoken. It is not 625 is 40 for the entire month. 40 hours per week, 160 hours. I apologize. It's $156 per hour, which is still a very large amount.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
no,
I
no
wasn't-
dispute.
That's why I was-
apologize.
I just-
My monkey math didn't get there. I need the calculator.
In that case, I'll stay in this position then.
Okay.
I'm not switching.
What happens to these guys on rainy days when they're shut down?
Well,
Still up in South
for the two separate positions, the construction inspection manager, he did not, they wouldn't be there that day. You know, they were pretty much full-time, you know, but if everybody's shut down because of weather, you know, he could go back to his office and do something else.
Are we paying?
We would not
whether
get
we're
paid
working
for
or
those
not?
hours.
No, it's only the hours that they spend here. And with the surveying position, that is set up more as a part-time anyway, because we are able to absorb some of those duties with our current staff. I don't know if that answers your question.
I'm trying to check that salary for you right now.
Because I'm thinking if we increase the salary offered in that position, we could probably land the qualified person and still save over this, what we're looking at now offering.
So we do not disagree with you that it would certainly, we got it right up here. So right now, the base pay for the constructor inspecting at a C-13, thank you, is $53,540. And we, again, have not, this time's a good reflection. We've gone out, we've tried, and we're just not getting anybody.
It has to do with the salary we're offering. I'm sure that if we increase the salary offered, we'd most likely get more applicants.
I disagree.
You do?
Yep, I think it's because when the economy's good, no one wants to work for government. There's plenty of opportunity out there in private industry.
Because
And
they
these
pay
guys are
more.
making, well, they do, but when times get tough in private, they come to government to work because of the benefits.
Right.
Be clear about that. You're not gonna get benefits in private like you're gonna get in government. So I don't think it's about the salary. I just think that there are few and far candidates because they're all working.
It may be a combination. I
Right.
mean, for the inspection position, I agree. Timing is not really on our side.
It's not.
Because when we advertised, and when the retirements took place, you know, all the contractors or people who are in that industry were gearing up for this construction season. So they're
It's
kind
booming.
of settled into
Yeah.
where they are. So
Yep.
that could also be a possibility as
Yeah,
to
it's-
why
it's-
the applications
Commissioner
are
Fraser and I
somewhat
were at Burke
limited.
the other day. How many applications or opportunities are out there? They can't find people to fill them.
Yes,
And
which
we're
is
at such a
correct.
low
Yep.
rate on unemployment, it's
Yes.
unbelievable. But they
Hurts.
told us
So then the
this.
question is, are we willing to pay 50,000, the amount for an annual salary for a term contract through the end of this fiscal year? I mean,
That
that's
is
really
what-
what you're coming to us.
Well, or before.
Right.
So our goal would be, we're not stopping the push. I was just down and met with Director Fruck this morning. We're constantly communicating with them. We
Right.
certainly can explore other options that would require, you know, obviously, work with the county administrator and commissioners with regard to differing compensation if we thought that would work. But our goal is to get somebody on board.
Right.
We haven't
Right.
stopped,
We wanna do
and
that,
we
yeah. Sure.
continue to do it. But my obligation to you is also not to let you down. I know how many things that we hear regarding roads and issues, and I could not have staff, we could not accept an inferior product for you.
Right.
That is our ultimate goal, is that we keep things rolling. So that's what we're trying. We brought this to you today because we do think it's a lot of money. And we never do anything in the blind. So we wouldn't do something that you all did not know about and approve of. That's our main goal for being here today.
What other options would you be looking at? You said you can look at other
Well,
option or course of action. What would
potentially
be?
it would be compensation options. So
Okay.
obviously, we only have a certain degree, which we have attempted, to go above, within the director's purview and the county administrator, we can only go increase a potential salary so much without first coming to the board.
Right.
So if we thought that we wanted to be more marketable, and if we had a discussion, let's say, with Director Frock, and she said, okay, we can look, and a quick study shows we need to be here, we would have to bring that before you and say, we would like to make, this our base money and go out and advertise it for this dollar amount. If we're not successful, I still keep my fingers crossed. There are a lot of, it's not as opportune at this time, but we are open till, May 1st. Maybe we'll get an application. But at this point, we haven't.
I recommend that we increase that salary. We're not gonna get someone qualified at that salary to do this job. I think it's an absurdity to offer that salary to someone for this position. And even if we added $30,000 to that, we're gonna still save
Yeah,
a lot
I
more
think-
money.
I think we'd need to hear from HR before we do that kind of thing, if I may suggest.
Yeah, I don't think we're prepared to make a decision like that. Ted?
Yeah, I was coming to stand in for Kim, too.
I tried to get-
These ideas, I mean, there are places where clearly we would say, if we want to be competitive, we need to offer more. But all these positions are considered in context of all the positions in the county and existing
Correct.
employees. And making a change like that has all sorts of implications that you need to think through.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, if they were just a contractual hiree, is there an alternative instead of making them a regular county employee? What options do we have?
Again, I want to hear from our HR director on I get, there are implications to that as well. And so we can have that conversation for sure, but I don't think that anyone is prepared for that at the moment.
No, we're getting into some areas that I think
Right.
we're not prepared to get into. Where's the consultant construction inspection and management services out of? Where, are they out of?
The one we are using is A. Morton Thomas.
Okay.
The office we work with is in Baltimore County on
Okay.
Delaney Valley Road.
Yeah, I know them, okay.
And then, of course, Carroll Land
Right,
Services
we know them,
is
right.
local here in Westminster.
Okay. What if we, we're saying that we do 25,000 a month through the end of fiscal year. What if we change that to say 25,000 a month or through the end of the fiscal year, or until such time that we hire?
Oh, that's for sure,
That's,
definitely.
yeah,
That is
that's,
for sure.
that's currently the way it's
Okay, well, that's not
established.
what
Yeah.
the motion says.
Yep, we can change it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's what that was it.
Okay, well, you can't give a motion that
Agree.
anticipates something. That's my point.
Yep. Yep.
That's still a lot of money per hour. That's,
Yeah, but I think that's a standard. I don't know how you get, I mean, if we're gonna tell them not to use them and have them go out and search for somebody cheaper, then we might as well not use them at all, because it's gonna probably take them a month or so to
Right.
find somebody. So why even do it at all?
I will tell you also, just to speak on the service that we're getting. The gentleman that is currently occupying the position has 36 years in the business, came on board and literally stepped into us and has done a fantastic job. I will say that. With some of the issues that I've had, that I get down from you folks, from our citizens, this individual has been able to go out because of his demeanor, work with the citizens, work with the construction companies and the contractors, and we have literally not missed a beat. In fact, I would say we might have picked a beat or two up. I mean, he's that good. So I wouldn't tell you that, I absolutely agree when you look at this dollar amount, it's high. And again, that's why we're here. We'll do whatever you tell us to do, just understanding that if it's vacant, we obviously will have to try to fill the gap somewhere, and sometimes things go unchecked. That's it. And it's just my obligation to keep you informed and keeps things flowing, and you direct me how you want that to happen. And also, we will look at the package, as the county administrator said, and we'll see what we can come up with the director of HR and bring that back before you if we are not successful before we close on May 1st.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you sharing with us this gentleman's talents as well, because that means a lot, because it's not satisfying us up here. It is all about satisfying the community, so I appreciate those comments. If we change this, and would it be doable with Amor and Thomas to put in a motion or make a decision on an hourly rate of that 156 per hour and not looking at the 25,000 per month? Because when I'm looking at 25,000 per month, I'm looking at a retainer of 25,000 per month. But if the actual request is you want to pay up until you find somebody, then I'd rather do an hourly rate than a retainer rate. Does that make sense?
No, they provided hourly rates.
Yeah, I said the hourly
Yeah,
rate is
but-
provided in the contract.
Yes.
Yep.
Then I'd rather address it by the hourly rate than by a monthly retainer, because that, to me, is giving a message that we're locking in a month at a time. And I don't
Yeah.
like that.
And certainly whatever it takes to get you all comfortable with that, we are not. Our whole discussion and agreement with them has been, the day that we get somebody on board, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, and I think that just needs to be addressed in how we're going to
Sure.
approve this moving forward.
Okay.
Do you know what that hourly rate is, if they wanted to put it, or just say pursuant to the contract?
The hourly
I don't
rate.
wanna-
Can we do that?
I would say the hourly rate pursuant to the contract. Or I can check, I know, is Maureen,
No?
Yeah.
No.
Keep going.
stand by.
Well, if it's the hourly rate associated with the dollar amount retainer, it's $156.25.
Right.
And if that's the case, that's fine. But that's the approach I would take, is by hourly rate as opposed to by a monthly retainer. I don't know.
So then, I mean, that's fine, I don't have a problem with that, I'm just wondering, what is that? So then, essentially, what you're saying is if they perhaps would only work like 30 hours,
Correct.
then we only pay them.
Well, and I think, in fact, that's what Deb said, that
Correct.
that's the way the
Right. So you're only
contract is
paying 'em-
written.
So right now today, if we have a rainy week, if
They're
it
not-
rains
they're
all
not
day today,
working.
they don't
It's not
come
here.
and we don't
Right.
get billed.
So you're only paying them
We only pay
Per
for the
hour,
hours.
yeah.
per
that-
hour
hours
when
that
they're
he's
actually working.
Period.
So
We're
that
not paying
kinda-
for anything we're not getting.
Right, that kind of settles that.
No, they're invoicing us monthly, and maybe that's kind of where it got.
Where
Yeah.
the confusion probably came in as up to
So we're
the
not getting a
maximum.
$25,000 bill a month. We're
Correct.
getting
We're getting it
we're
by
getting
the
a per hour
Yes,
rate when they
Invoiced.
are actually working for us.
correct, invoiced on a monthly basis.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's sort of an up to.
right.
But the reason of the awareness and things that are here today is and it's because of Director Castingway and I, is that we're not taking any chance, right? So you can go on with these things and, well, it's this much or it's this much, it's not the way we operate.
Right.
The potential is it could be this much, and you all need to know about it and tell us what you want to do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think changing our approach to saying pursuant to the hourly rate, pursuant to kind of whatever the words we want to use, makes a whole lot more sense than the way it's written right here, saying approximately $25,000.
And I can certainly step out, if you guys want to, break, I'll step out, step down to purchasing, I can follow that exact dollar amount and come back to you in a matter of seconds.
Well, if we just make the motion as the hourly
Minutes.
pursuant to the contract,
For the-
that'll be,
Yeah,
Correct.
to the
right, that'll be
Yeah.
just fine. We don't need to
Then we
have
don't
the
need
extra
that.
hour.
Okay, very good.
here.
Yeah.
Although, unless you want the extra side, no, I'm kidding.
Whatever you need, sir.
All right, well, why don't we do that? And then,
Or we could be very specific. I just got the purchase order number. We could say pursuant to that particular purchase order, and that refers to the contract, if you wanted to do it that way. And then be very clear.
I don't like to be that clear.
I mean,
It's
I think pursuant to the,
11836.
pursuant to the contract, the
Yeah.
language is fine.
So
That's fine.
Yeah.
I would make the motion then that the Board of Commissioners approve the continued use of A. Morton Thomas for the construction, inspection, management, and consultant services for the hourly rate pursuant to the contracts through the end of fiscal year 19,
Or until someone is hired,
or until someone is hired.
whichever is the earliest.
I had a comma
Right.
here, you know.
Whichever is the earlier.
Okay,
And they're all, both Carol Land and A. Morton Thomas, they're aware of that.
Yeah,
I'm sure they
As soon as we
are.
hire
Right.
somebody,
Yeah.
this is over.
okay. So do I have a second to that?
I will second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that particular item? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And now the second part of it is the Carroll Land Services.
Well, that could be as the one that's
Yes.
in here because it says it's
Right.
as needed
Right.
basis. So
Right.
that one's
I
fine.
think that's fine,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so, too.
So that language
Yeah.
is fine, so.
You're on a roll.
Okay. Move the Board of County Commissioners approve the continued use of land services, Carroll Land Services for professional land surveying, I'm not in a roll now, consultation services on an as-needed basis for the end of fiscal year 19.
Second.
Or-
Okay. All right, got a second?
Yes, sir.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Okay.
for your support, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the work.
Thank you.
And thanks, Roberta.
Okay, item number 4, request approval for grant application and acceptance of award for Cascade Lake Stream Restoration. Gail Engels, our Bureau Chief.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
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 With me today is Kelly Martin. She's going to go over the grant application that we're applying for today and asking for approval.
So we are requesting your approval to submit an application to the Department of Natural Resources Chesapeake and Coastal Grants Gateway for $2,200,000 for the Cascade Lake Restoration Project. As most of you know, the dam supporting the 6-acre lake suffered severe structural damage back in July during a storm
Bless you.
event, which resulted in the draining of the lake and excavation of the dam. So the Bureau staff has met with the Flynn's, owners of Cascade Lake, and they are supportive of us moving forward for grant funding for construction of the possible stream restoration project in the former lake bed. This project addresses nutrient reductions and 183.58 acres of impervious area treatment, which are requirements of the county's National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. In addition to the $2,200,000 of this grant request, there's a county match of $970,000 for a total project cost of $3,170,000. Do you have any questions?
I just want to point out, and I'm hoping correct when I'm pointing this out, that we're getting the benefit out of this as the county. This helps us out with our permit for stormwater management and pollution reduction and all that kind of stuff. It's not just a private Cascade Lake getting this and using it because of what happened over there, but this is helping out the county, which is why this is, a good idea, is why the county match and so forth, I would be for. If it was just benefiting Cascade Lake, no, but it's benefiting the county for our
That is correct.
NPDES permit.
That is correct.
And it's,
We're-
what, do you want to explain how many acres potential?
183.7 acres of impervious area treatment, which was something that we didn't have in our plan of doing until this occurred, and we looked at this as an opportunity to get a win-win situation out of it and keep the cost down on the impervious acre treatment as well. So
Right.
DNR, we did have them out to the site already. The way they run things, they request to do a site visit before we do a full proposal, and they really liked the idea. I mean, they were very much on board, so we feel pretty comfortable that we might be in line to get the grant if we do submit it. So we're pretty excited about it, actually.
And we already had our portion of that in our budget for projects similar to this, not necessarily for this one in particular.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
So when you say stream restoration project, just give us a little bit about what that encompasses, Gail. I mean, what are you actually going to do over there?
So 3,600 linear feet of stream will be restored in that lake bed area and also above the lake bed. What we're planning on doing is restoring it back to the natural terrain of what it was before. There is a extremely amount of large sediment load that has deposited, obviously, in that lake over the years. So all that sediment will be removed. It'll be
66,000 tons of sediment.
There you
that will
go.
be one-time removed.
We've already kind of did an evaluation of that.
Where does that go?
That will go onto a property next door. We'll spread it out in the field next door, which is owned by the Flynn's as well, or have a haul site where we will set up a fill operation there. Usually we poll farmers in the area that need topsoil, because that's actually most of it's topsoil. So we'll poll farmers in the areas to see if they'll work with us on spreading that out on a farm field or helping with like areas that are eroded to correct erosion problems. But we work with, we're gonna work with the Flynn's first on an on-site haul because it's cheaper. And then the idea with anything else would go then to another controlled fill site.
Nice. So it's like recycled dirt.
It is. It is.
Good.
So the benefit to this is we would restore the stream back to its natural terrain. We're planning on going down to bedrock so we can pull off cold water from the bedrock area, which will then help address trout we want to make sure the trout are happy, so we brought DNR in on this. We've had them involved in our project as far as thinking of ways that we can get through the permitting process. And actually, they are very much in support of the project and how we're planning on proceeding if we do get the grant award from DNR, so.
You understand that the only thing that'll be recorded in the newspaper is that smiling trout. Okay? Or that the county is concerned with happy trout.
We like happy trout.
We like this, so just sharing.
It's a good quote.
Yeah, it's a good point, all right.
Brook trout, right?
Yes. No
Brown
brook
trout.
Both. The unfortunate thing is, we have both in the area.
So you're restoring this to the stream that was originally there before 1920s, or?
Right, there is a stream feeding into what was the lake before, and then, of course, you have the bypass area that is currently bypassing, which will now be brought into the stream bed itself. So we'll do away with that channel alongside the stream that used to bypass the lake area.
And there's a lot of wetlands above that, or
There is.
marshy area.
Absolutely, there is.
So, okay.
Okay.
What is the temperature that make trout happy?
68
68.
degrees. See, we all have that program in our
Yeah.
heads.
What about the bass? No, I don't want to know. Okay, got it. Okay.
Well, I think this is a great way to repair what occurred over there.
Actually, we're
And
making
that's-
lemonade
well,
out
actually,
of
half of it's in your district and half of it's in mine. I
Yeah.
think it kind of goes.
With that, I'm going to move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the submittal of the grant application and acceptance of the award to the Chesapeake and Coastal Grants Gateway for the Cascade Lake Stream Restoration.
And I will second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, same theme, Mayberry Gun Club stream restoration.
Yes, so for this request, we're requesting $2,500,000 from the Chesapeake and Coastal Grants Gateway for the Mayberry Gun Club Stream Restoration Project. The primary goal of this project is to restore approximately 6,000 linear feet of Bear Branch to a stable natural reach that enhances the natural habitat and reduces the impacts to the Mayberry Game Association property. This stream shows severe bank stress, it lacks proper channel definition, and it has inadequate floodplain connectivity. This addresses nutrient reductions and provides over 62 acres of impervious area treatment, which are requirements of the county's National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. In addition to the $2,500,000 of the grant request, there is a $170,000 county match for a total project cost of $2,670,000.
So I've walked a good bit of that at the gun club and know what the issues are there. And this is also another great project that clearly needs to be done.
Just to give you a little bit of background, we were actually approached by the gun club.
So that was gonna be,
Yes.
I was gonna prompt you to answer that question, because I knew that.
Yeah,
Because I
we-
talked to several of the guys over there too, and.
Right. So we were approached about 2 years ago by the gun club. We actually submitted this request to DNR last year as well. We weren't far enough along with the plan, so they rejected the grant award to us at that time. But we have been working very closely with the gun club on the plan, through the plan process, and they did give us a letter of support for this application as well. So we are hoping that we will get some consideration this year for this project.
Very good. What do you think what's the time period for this project? And it won't disrupt any of their activities over there, I wouldn't think.
They were thinking construction could start as early as January of next year. It would go out to bid for
Right,
construction
right.
next January, and then it would be finished by October, Chris was
Okay.
thinking.
So we've discussed with them the fact that we may be in the area that they are shooting in. Their shooting range was a real concern to us. And we are limiting our time of operation to work with them. So we obviously won't be working on the weekend, which is their
Right.
busiest time.
Right.
And we will also be ending our work around 4 o'clock in the evening, which then allows them, but we've taken all that into consideration while we work through the process.
Okay.
So winter, we're hoping, is when we'll be doing
Right.
most of the construction, which is their least use time.
Right.
Period.
And the fact remains that since they approached us, that they would be willing to do that as well, so.
Right.
Yep, good, okay. All right, I'm gonna make this motion that we approve the submittal of the grant application, acceptance of award to the Chesapeake and Coastal Grants Gateway for the Mayberry Gun Club stream restoration.
I'll second.
All right, any other questions on this project? All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you very much.
Two good projects.
Yep.
Thank you.
Director Devilbus is very happy back there with all this.
Thumbs up. All right, item number 6 is approval of fund transfer for the Delaney property. Mr. Jack Lyburn, our Director of Economic Development, joins Gail. Jack, good morning.
Commissioners, good morning. Before we start, some good news. I know this is off the agenda, but we had over 400 children out at the Farm Museum this week doing projects and understanding about the environment. And we've never had such a larger group, and they were from the Gerstel Academy, and we put them to work, of course. But we had
Got
over
very good
400.
press.
Pardon?
You got some very good press on that.
We got good press. Joanne does a great job on press. And we had over 400 students out there, and we had over 100 parents and teachers. So I just wanted to give you the good news, and we did get good press. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Delaney property, as you know, the Delaney property is a site of about 125 acres. It's almost 65 to 75 usable, but we want to make a transfer, and Gail's going to go over the problem with the soil. Gail?
So we have been actively using the Delaney property as a fill site on some of our projects down in the Eldersburg area. It's very close proximity to a few of the projects that we've worked on over the past several months. And what we basically do is by having it within a 5-mile radius, it keeps the cost of hauling down by $12 to $15 cubic yard. So at the time when we started working with the Delaney property, it was considered an ag property. Therefore, we did not have to do compaction on the fill that we were placing there. Obviously, you wouldn't want to compact a farm field. So we were moving forward with that in the foreground of our thoughts when we prepared the site for Phase 2, which is now what we're currently using. That area will be filled with your approval today. But we awarded a contract to White Pine for them to do the fill operation based on a farm field, not compaction. And then we were approached by economic development and also the fact that they were going to be changing the zoning to possibly being a future employment campus, which kind of put a different focus on that because at that point in time, the ground being brought in needed to be compacted fill because of the possibility of buildings being built in that area. So we then approached White Pine, who was already under contract with us for the sediment control as well as stabilization and topsoil removal, to enter into a contract with economic development for the compaction of that fill that's being brought in. So that's the request that we're asking today is for you to approve the transfer of the funding, or
Yeah. It's not really,
yeah.
it gets a little more complicated than that because of our rules and ordinances that what allow you to do and don't allow you to do. But you'll see there are 3 staff recommended motions. One is to allow the approval of the compaction in the first place for White Pine to do the work that Gail just referred to. The second is to reserve $200,000, the amount that this will cost, in Economic Development's infrastructure fund at the end of fiscal year 19. And then the third is to then appropriate $200,000 in FY '20 to the MPDS to sort of pay back MPDS for the work that they'll do in fiscal year 19.
What's
from
the
that
depth of your
economic
fill?
The depth in some areas are about 12 to 15 feet. In other areas, you're then adjusting to the grade, so you're basically tying into what's there now. So there's a very large amount of fill going into that property. And that's leveling it off. We did a study, Carroll Land Services did a study of what that site could look like if it was developed out. So we're basing the fill operation on that plan to develop that out one day. So we're using what they've given us as our plan for our compacted fill area.
We couldn't use the site without the compaction with the footers and everything. So we
Right.
really, we have the money in the infrastructure fund, and this is the use that we intend it to be, but we wouldn't be able to take the site without the compaction. And since now it's going to be a campus zone, we're going to build buildings, and we've been working with Carol Ann and with Gail on this.
We authorized the transfer of this property to the IDC.
IDA.
IDA, I apologize, IDA, a couple months ago. The funds within the IDA don't cover this. Is this-
The IDA has not taken this property. They won't take, the IDA will not take ownership of the property until we know we have compaction on the site.
So were we premature in authorizing the transfer, or is this the next step that needs to occur before the actual transfer into the IDA?
Commissioners, yes. This is the next step. Once this is done, the IDA will, they've been working with, Isaac's been working with our attorneys, and we will take ownership of that, but the IDA will take ownership at that point.
At the time we transferred, were we expecting this additional cost or no?
No.
No,
No.
no, this is it.
Unfortunately, we were proposing to bring that fill in as, like I indicated, a farm field.
Right.
And then when I heard the session that you had
Yeah.
about the purchase, I immediately went to Mr. Lyburn and said, we've got a really big problem here because I have materials being delivered there, and, you know, we aren't compacting those materials. We're basing it on farm. And then that's when we met with IDA during their session, and we discussed it would be better to maintain it as a county property while we did our fill operation, and then it would be turned over to IDA once we were finished the fill operation.
What's your time frame?
We are planning on being out of there by this fall. So we have a couple projects we're taking in there. We actually have one right across the street from that property, but we decided to switch gears and take a couple of other sites into there and not take the one across the street. We'll go to another area with that because we want to be out of there. We've committed to being out of there by the fall.
And this is actually just moving dirt into there and then compacting. So what about all that dirt that's moved on 26 by Homewood? I mean, is there still dirt being moved there?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
So,
We have so much dirt, Commissioner, that we had to find
there-
another
okay,
spot.
so there's, in other words, there's plenty to go around to support
Absolutely.
that, and, okay.
Yes. Unfortunately,
Unfortunate.
yeah, there is
Some-
70,000 cubic yards coming out of Elderwood.
Right.
That's a state,
So
village.
this is still a win-win situation, because you gotta bring it somewhere, this is at least close proximity to transfer the dirt from one place to another, so
Right.
it's still a benefit.
We are absolutely saving a lot of
Right.
money by going close within that 5-mile radius to do
Correct.
these
So-
fill
Even,
sites.
even though you have to compact it,
That's
right?
correct.
And even
That
though
is
it's
correct.
going to delay to a second location, I mean, but that's important, again, how we are trying to continue to be fiscally conservative on how we're doing operations. We're finding a need and a location in close proximity to move this dirt to the delaying property, even though it still has to be compacted. We're saving a lot of money, right?
We are
And
very
I don't wanna
diligent in
put words
doing
your
that.
mouth, but I just want to make sure I
Right.
understand.
Right.
And as a sidebar, we're going to continue to market the property even now. We will market the property, know we're going to get compaction. We're not stopping, we're out there marketing Delaney right now as a project. This is a win-win for both of us.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Where's the 200,000 coming from?
It's coming from the infrastructure fund.
Right.
The money is there from this year.
We already have it.
You already
It's
have
going
it
from
in
here.
the
We're just
funds.
transferring over for
Yes.
this use. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, because
Maybe not.
of legal constraints that are, that the county works under, it's not a simple transfer from one function to another. Your ordinances don't allow you to transfer to I'm playing Ted Zaleski in the school class.
You can't do that when he's standing. at
The
school
the
class.
actual is right here.
Yeah,
To the capital fund in the middle of the year.
that's only when the actor is absent.
He can say the same.
Okay. It will not be a transfer, so get that idea out
Right.
of your minds now. The problem is, the money we want to use is in the general fund. The project you want it to be used on is in the
Right.
capital fund.
Right.
And the only way to make this a transfer, in the way you would think about it, we would have to open up the budget to amend the capital budget. So, it's new budget, public hearing, and everything that goes through that. So what we have suggested as an alternative is that
Approve the funds.
you direct that $200,000 not be spent in the infrastructure grant. So at the end of the year, 200,000, whatever else happens, $200,000 is sitting there. That money falls to fund balance in the fiscal year 20 budget. We would appropriate $200,000 to this project, and then the end result you wanted still happens. It's just a more complicated path to getting there.
Okay,
Got it.
yeah. So as a result of that conversation, I'm not so sure that these recommended motions are correct. I believe we're going to have to change the wording.
Budget wrote them, so they think.
No, I
they're
think
correct.
actually.
you are correct?
They are correct, yeah. Yeah.
So they are correct as reflected by what Ted just
Yeah,
said.
Yeah,
Yes, this is meant to accomplish what I just said.
yes. This is exactly.
What you
So-
just said sounds so much simpler than this.
No, I mean, the intent is to basically spend the money, not transfer money, but spend the
Okay.
money from one line to another.
All right, as long as we're doing what you just said with
Yep.
these three, then I'm
You're doing
good.
three things. You're saying okay to the compaction.
Okay,
You're saying, make sure there's $200,000 still in this
Yep.
budget at the end of the year.
Right. And third is
And
spend
in
it.
20, we will appropriate the money.
okay.
Gotcha.
You want three separate, or can it
Yeah.
be all?
Yeah.
Okay,
Make it clear if you don't mind.
all right.
So I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the compaction of Delaney property in the amount of $200,000.
Second.
All right, that's number one. All in favor? Aye.
Move that the $200,000 be reserved from economic development, infrastructure, and grants at the end of FY19.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And the third is I move that the $200,000 be appropriated in FY20 to the NPDES Capital Project 9920.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye.
Go
And I
away.
think now you have what you need to do.
Thank you so
Commissioners,
much.
thank you, we
It
do.
was kind of dirty getting there, but we got there.
Well, you were talking.
See what I
about-
did there?
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll try not to.
Made her brains hurt.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
That- It is a
That's-
win-win situation.
And it is a good location too, Ed, that
Absolutely, it's
particular
right
is-
across from
yeah.
Century. It's-
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, item 7, approval of Carroll County Public Schools FY19 CIP budget transfers. And Assistant Superintendent of Operations from CCPS, Mr. John O'Neill. John, good morning.
Good morning, President West, Commissioners. Also, I'd like to note that Board of Education Vice President Marcia Herbert has joined me for, I think, moral support. And,
You need it.
She didn't say that, I was just hoping. We, maybe just as a brief reminder, some information for the two of you newly elected. Under Maryland Public Education Law, anytime the Board of Education makes an adjustment or a transfer to their operating or capital budgets, within 30 days, those approved actions have to come across the street to you for your consideration and action. And so it doesn't happen too often, but usually this time of year, we bring a couple. In this case, at the last Board of Ed meeting in April, the Board of Education approved two separate transfers within its capital budget. So these are transfers from one category existing in the Board of Ed's capital budget to another project, I guess I should say, more than category in the case of capital, within the Board of Ed's capital budget. So this isn't a request to you for additional funding. This is funding that already has been allocated to the school system. And then there's two separate things here now. Do you want me to just talk about them both, and then you could take them one or the other?
We'll take them one at a time just to make it official.
Okay.
John?
The first one, so I have one, at least in Board of Ed documents, titled 19-01. This is a transfer of, there's two items on this transfer. There's a transfer of $150,000 from the Friendship Valley School Roof Replacement Project into the Linton Springs Elementary School Roof Replacement Project, and then also $450,000 transferred from the Francis Scott Key Roof Replacement Project into the Sandy Mount School Roof Replacement Project. And the reason behind this one is that something that our Director of Facilities, Mr. Ray Prokop, has been speaking about as often as he can over the last decade, concern with we've always tried to be, worked with your staff to try to be as fiscally responsible as we can when we set project budgets. And Ray has often commented that roofing is one of the more volatile markets, and that maybe we were pinching that too close, but we've been okay. over the last many years, and we've done quite a few roofing projects with your assistance. In this case, both of these bids came in under. And both of these bids, I believe, came in, not the same firm, but both of these bids came in with only one responsive bidder in each case. And so that's kind of a double thing that we need to look at and monitor. And that is a problem that other boards of ed in Maryland have been experiencing over the years. We've been, like I said, doing okay with it. So for future projects, as we develop them and work with, if the board approves them and work with your staff, we'll take a look at how we're determining budgets. But in this case, to keep these projects moving this summer, we need to make these transfers within the Board of Ed's approved capital budget to award the bids and keep the projects going forward. So that's the background on 19-01.
Okay, why don't we take action on that one? And then we'll do them, that way it's official. So I'll entertain a motion to make the transfer based on request 19 I might as well just do it. I'll make the motion that we make the budget transfer based on the details surrounding budget item 19-01.
I'll second.
All right, any other questions? Hold on, and here comes Ted.
That 19-01 is actually their number.
Okay, what's our
Your
number?
number is C-19.12.
I knew that.
So I'll amend my motion to include our number, which is C-19.12.
I'll second.
Okay.
Technical stuff.
All right, any other thoughts on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, John.
Great, thank you. And I don't know your number on the second one, so I'll just call it the second one, and Ted can pop back up at the
Well,
end.
if you don't know the number, John, then we're not doing it.
There you
Okay,
go.
so-
Well, 19-02. This one is a bit more of a complex discussion that you already have on your agenda for your joint meeting with the Board of Ed. In part, it's one of the items on the agenda. So I'll try to do it quickly. Be happy to answer any questions you want now, but just know that if you want to have a much more detailed conversation, you already have that pending for you on May 2nd. We have a local capital project account called infrastructure renewal, and I think that mirrors the kind of terms you use for your operations as well. And that's sort of a project account that addresses not major big school construction, roofs, HVACs, or modernizations, but those smaller renewal projects that still need to occur. Kind of think of it as things not quite big enough that the state might participate in them. Couple in Superintendent Guthrie's last budget, so at the end of the last budget year, a decision that the Board of Ed made to balance its operating budget was to reduce our operation line item in facilities by about $450,000, I think it was. And that finished, that eliminated basically that amount of money that we had in our operating budget to do these kinds of projects, these renewals, these repairs, these smaller but still costly capital projects. And the board transferred, the Board of Ed, which the Board of Commissioners ultimately approved as kind of an offset to that action to balance the operating budget, transferred with ultimately your approval money from our fund balance into the Board of Ed's capital infrastructure renewal project. And we kind of hoped at the time that maybe we would have 4 years or so money there to get us through 4 years or so of projects. That didn't turn out to be the case. We have a significant project underway, or that will be underway. The assessment is happening now at Westminster High. It's on most of the main, what you would think of as the main section. I think it's the A section technically of the school. If you drive in or ride by front or back, you'll see that there are protective awnings over the entrances to that wing. And then at least in the rear of the school, some area that's fenced off for some distance from the building. And what's happening is over decades of rainwater getting in between the brick and the flashing, the grout or the masonry around the brick has begun to erode. And then the back, it's almost in all cases at the very top of the building at the roof line. In the back, that's 3 stories, so it's way off the ground, thus the protective equipment. Don't want you to think that bricks are flying off the school or anything like that. That's not the case. But this is something that we need to address and address as soon as we can, and so we can take care of it this summer. The problem is, for us, in terms of long-term thinking about our infrastructure renewal needs, that's pretty much going to deplete the infrastructure renewal project we set up with the fund balance two budgets ago. And so this transfer is to try to be proactive to replenish that account. And so the Mount Airy Middle School replacement was completed in 2013. We're almost through all the guarantee stages on the major systems, and we feel very comfortable transferring this $400,000 out of the Mount Airy replacement project into the local infrastructure renewal project, and we believe that this $400,000 will ultimately cover everything that has to happen at Westminster High School. That took way longer than I thought it would.
That's
but
good.
There you go.
Probably would eliminate some of the questions we would have
Maybe
had,
you can
too.
remove this item.
Okay.
I guess we need the county's line item number on this as well. It would be the same?
Well, yeah, what's the number on this one?
Well, actually, looks like there was a little bit of a disconnect. John, do you have a transfer from Francis Scott Key to Sandy Mount?
That was on the first
That was the
one.
first one. The first transfer.
This is the
had
second one to
two
Mount
items.
Airy.
Okay, well then.
We may have approved the second one.
We don't want to have to read the motion twice, right?
You have a transfer from Friendship Valley to Linton with you?
Yeah, those were our first.
They were combined.
They were combined. Should we have done them?
Okay, well, we actually don't have a resolution prepared for this then, so the number would be C-19.14.
Okay, is it a problem that you don't have that prepared? Or can we make the decision
No,
today and
I
then?
think you can go ahead with this. We just
Okay.
will need to follow up with the paperwork.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're procedurally okay.
All right, I'd like to have the board make the motion approved for the budget transfer of fiscal year 19 CIP budget C19.14 or -14. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah. Okay, I've got a motion and second for this action. Any other questions on this project? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the support.
Okay, next on our agenda is a briefing on the Carroll Alert mass notification system. And for that, our Director of Public Safety, Scott Campbell and Company, and I'll let him do the introductions.
I don't think it matters too much.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning. Morning.
My role today is limited to the pleasure of introducing these two individuals, Ms. Valerie Hawkins, the Emergency Management Manager, and a belated congratulations. Last Thursday, Ms. Hawkins was officially sworn by the Clerk of the Circuit Court, is that correct? So she is officially sworn as your county's Emergency Manager.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To her left is Matt Rodriguez, who is the Assistant Manager of Emergency Management. And they're here to give you, I think, it's a good message. It's an opportunity for the public to become more aware of the things going on in the county that may affect their welfare.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the time to discuss this with you, give you a little bit of background. As we mentioned in the briefing paper, since 2015, we've been utilizing a web-based solution offered by Everbridge for both emergency and non-emergency notification capabilities. So a lot of what we use it for is internal. There's a lot of, Department of Public Works uses it a lot. We use it in the Department of Public Safety for internal employee notifications. We also utilize it as what people normally think of as a reverse 911 system. It's not technically a reverse 911 system because that is a trademarked phrase, but that's what the easiest way to think about it. What we're doing right now and why we're coming before you today is we've enhanced those capabilities of the system to provide an opt-in for the public to add text, email, and Matt will go into a lot more of the detail with regard to how all of the opt-in capabilities are with this system. But we wanted to provide you with an overview of the changes, what we're doing with the system, and what capabilities citizens are now going to have after we open up the portal and turn it over to Matt. We have a short presentation, it's not very long, just a few slides, but kind of illuminate what we're talking about a little bit better.
So, again, thank you for having us, Commissioners. So before we get started, I would just definitely like to thank a lot of people, a lot of agencies who have backed this, this system, basically. Between the Department of Public Safety just as a whole, between our Office of Emergency Management, between dispatch, between Jack's people, just all of their support has been great, as well as our local law enforcement agencies and our fire companies. Their support has been great in taking trainings and everything, getting prepared for this system to launch. Just a lot of background work. As well as those agencies, would definitely like to thank Chris Weinbrenner and Chris Swam. Just kind of like to give a shout out for them for their support in this system. They've done a lot of work in getting it actually basically set up for that public front. So with that, we'll go into what Carroll Alert is. So Carroll Alert is Carroll County's public emergency alerting system. So again, it's powered by Everbridge. It's offered to the public at no cost. So they're able to go in and sign up for it. There's no additional charge, anything like that associated with it. And so basically what this is for them to receive emergency alerts. This isn't necessarily for general government notices, anything like that, but this is for basically life-threatening alerts. So again, when, as I mentioned, when time is critical and it's, it has an impact on health, safety, and their well-being, that's what the system is used for. So how does this system work? Well, basically, whenever your safety may be in danger, we will actually send out a notification allowing people to evacuate, shelter in place, kind of giving them that kind of direction in order to, best suit that incident. So I just have an example on here for you. So an example with this would be hazardous materials. A truck is heading down the road with, methyl ethyl bad stuff basically in it. And the truck overturns, spreading a lot of stuff through the air, and it's heading towards the neighborhood. So Carroll Alert would be the system that would be used for notifying those residents to either evacuate or shelter in place.
Is that a gravel road, Matt? No. I'm sorry. I was almost.
Oh, no. This is the Prius. So basically with this, the people would be alerted via their a phone call, a fax, an email, a text message. It basically just allows us to expand our capability that we already have to alert the people via other methods. And then in wrap up, basically the citizens would receive those notifications, and then they would receive a kind of a conclusion message at the end when everything's done. So how are the alerts sent? So again, we can reach people via their home number, their cell number, their business phone number, text messages, push notifications. There is an Everbridge app that we'll be releasing information on later on, basically to receive notifications via the Everbridge app. Email, hearing impaired devices such as like the TTY, the phone service, as well as iPause and WEO alerts, so the integrated public alert and warning system, as well as the wireless emergency alerts. So basically, kind of in summary, those Amber alerts that you get on your phone that you don't necessarily subscribe for, we're able to push those out as well. Just get people into safety sooner rather than later. And so what alerts are we going to send? So again, evacuations, shelter in place, hazardous materials incidents, dam emergencies. We saw how that kind of went, so, wanting to send those alerts would be better sooner rather than later. Police activity, barricades. Actually up in Hamstone, when we had the barricade situation up there, we actually sent an alert out with our existing methods. Critical lost or missing persons, sorry. We actually had to send a message out before up here in Westminster a couple years ago for a critical missing person who was lost and wandering. Wasn't necessarily warranting a silver alert, so we were able to send our alert to actually get that out to the public for them to be on the lookout for them. And then extreme weather events and extreme traffic events. Now I do want to make a note that the extreme weather event side of this system shouldn't be relied on for general weather notifications, anything like that. We're going to turn in the National Weather Service, so this would be more of a supplement to that service, but we wouldn't expect people to rely solely on this service for their weather alerts. And then extreme traffic conditions. So basically, say a major roadway is out down 27 or anything like that, or down 140. If there's something just so far in left field, we'll send a message for traffic alerts, but it's not necessarily used for the general traffic. And so why should you sign up? Because if we can't reach you, we can't alert you. This system depends on people signing up for the system and being able to be alerted when these things come up. So especially those folks who may live out where cell service isn't so great, if they're signed up for these alerts, but they have Wi-Fi capability, they're able to receive the alerts on their cell phones, their email, and any such that you can use over Wi-Fi. And again, so time is critical to take action, and so this system provides that conduit between us actually getting that message out and actually getting it out to the public in a timely manner. And so how can people sign up? So they can go to carealert.org. That's going to be our main page for the Care Alert system. Or people are able to, or will be able to, sign up manually. So they can go to any of the locations listed between here, the Carroll County Senior Centers, the libraries, the Sheriff's Office, the Human Services programs, and the local fire departments. And we're going to put up the rack cards and whatnot out there for people to basically mail in their information for us to manually sign them up. And so that's pretty much it. Just thank you all for your support thus far. And just, again, just want to say thanks to everybody who's been in the background of this process, making it all happen.
Any
So-
questions?
Yeah, so that's excellent. So just when I signed up, there was a little bit of a disconnect, and maybe it was just me, as to your location and how you wanted to be notified based on where you were. So, for example, say that you live in Tawnytown, but you work in Eldersburg, and you want to be notified either of something that's going on in Eldersburg, and certainly you want to be notified of something that's going on in Tawnytown. It does provide the ability to be able to put different locations on there, correct? And
Yes.
so just maybe explain that a little bit. And I know that the size of Carroll is not huge, so it's not a big deal, because I would probably think that you'd get a notification anyway. And that's that's 1A. And
Okay.
1B, how about as it pertains to neighboring jurisdictions? Say there's something going on in Reisterstown, and the folks in Finksburg should know. Are we doing anything with mutual aid, or what are we doing there?
Well, we'll answer the easier one first.
Okay.
The way that the system, and it'd probably be most helpful to explain a little bit of the background about what the system's actually doing in the background when you sign up. For your example, if you have your cell phone and you're signing up to receive messages on that particular device for your address in Tawnytown, the system is creating an address point, and it's associating that address point that you give it for your Tawnytown address with the phone number. It creates a contact point, and then it goes into the database, and when we draw a circle that encompasses that contact point, it's sending the notification to that device.
Okay.
Okay? You can set up multiple addresses with the same phone number.
Okay.
So what you're saying, you can absolutely do.
Okay, and I think I did that.
Okay, oh, well,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'll use my example. I live in the county, but I live in the southern end of the county. My mother lives here in Westminster. So if I wanted to sign up with my device for my home and my mom's, I can do that. So that if something goes on at her house, it's not countywide. I'm not necessarily being advised on hers on my phone for the county. I might not catch it, but because I've signed up with her address attached to that phone number, I'll get the notification. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
With regard to mutual aid and neighboring counties, in order to do that, none of the systems are linked. Baltimore County, for your example, does have a similar system. Frederick County has a similar system. All of the different jurisdictions have a little bit of a different take on how it's done. In order to accomplish what you're saying right now, that would rely on basically Baltimore County saying, hey, we have something going on, can you push it out to Finksburg, to the residents in Finksburg because it's close, or if we happen to know that there's something going on, we could reach out the other way. So it really relies on more of a, it's not a mutual aid type of deal, it's not an automatic mutual aid to,
Right,
you know,
right.
to tie it together like that, but it is something that could be done upon request. You know,
Okay.
we can send out whatever notification we want. If Baltimore County were to say, hey, we've got something close to the line, can you please send out a notification within this
Okay.
timeframe? Now, one thing and to add another wrinkle to it, if Baltimore County sends out a wireless emergency alert through an iPause alert, that is geographical. That relies on the cell tower. So when you get an Amber Alert on your phone or or a presidential alert, that's what those are too, those rely geographically. They're geofenced. So they rely on the cell towers that are surrounding the area that you draw on the map. So it's possible that Baltimore County could send out an emergency alert of that type, and somebody on the Carroll County side of the line would get it. That would be automatic, but it would have to be through that system. It wouldn't necessarily
Be
be
through-
through our
Okay.
system.
Okay.
We could duplicate it and send it out again, but there's
Okay.
two sides of it, and it gets kind of complicated
Well, I
when you
know it
start thinking
does.
about all of these
Yeah.
different systems, so.
And I know, you know, when, in the GMAC meetings, when I'm sitting there, that, you know, there's always a regional approach to these things, which is why I asked, you know, how would physically be able to do that, and whether they could link or whatever, so.
Yeah, they don't link automatically, but,
Okay.
you know, the answer to a regional alert is really wireless emergency alerting through
Right.
through MEMA, probably.
Yeah, through MEMA, okay.
Can citizens access this through the new Carroll County webpage?
Yes, so if they go to carrollalert.org, so I'll put that back up. If they go to that website, that actually links to a specific Carroll Alert page on the new county's website, and then from there, they can kind of gain a little bit more information from it, and then they can go on and sign up.
So is this ready to
Amazing.
roll?
Good.
As long as you all are all right with it, as long as the Board of County Commissioners is happy with what we've done, and you're ready to roll, then we're ready to roll as soon as you say go.
Go.
All right?
All those in favor of go? Go.
Go, go, go.
Now, I want to applaud you for taking the steps here. Of course, you know, I don't want to take the thunder here, but anything that you do with emergency management, public safety realm, any improvements that we make are priceless, and this is good stuff. It really is, so thank you.
Well, we definitely appreciate all the support that we receive from you.
What if someone needs help signing up?
So, on the next slide, we actually have our number down there, so they're welcome to email us or call us with questions, anything like that,
Okay.
of how to actually sign up and go through the process.
I will share, I just, 2 minutes, just signed up. It's
Yep.
very intuitive.
Wait a minute.
Very easy to use.
It took me
Well,
3 yesterday.
Like I said, it took me 2 minutes.
And one thing and Matt did touch on it, and you probably saw it, when you go to sign up, if you sign up on a mobile device, it will prompt you, do you want to install the app? There is an
Correct.
app that
You
you
don't
can
need
receive
to.
notification. You don't have to,
Right.
but the capability is there for that as
Correct.
well. There's an app for that.
I
app
saw
for
that.
everything.
There's an app for everything.
Very intuitive.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Okay. Look at that, 11:30.
Right on
Amazing.
time.
All right. Prior to agendas, are there any issues for open admin before I give mine?
No.
Okay. So, timely that we're in session, I can get your opinions before I make the decision, because a decision's needed shortly on this. You know, we've been working with the Board of Elections salary issues, and we gave our support for the RCC yesterday or day before in reference to that. They were looking at 17% pay raise, 9 next year and 8 the year after, or whatever. So, the chairman of the RCC did meet with the chair of the State Board of Elections, Jack Wilson from Queen Anne's, and they are understanding of the concerns that they got in their letter. So, they have suggested 2 alternate pay proposals. And while I've got you guys sitting beside me, I can get that so I can pass it along. Option A is a 3% COLA and 3% raise in FY '20, followed by a 3% raise in 21, 22, and 23. Or option B, 3% raises for 5 years. Any thoughts?
So the first year would be 6%.
Correct. A
A
COLA
rate.
and a raise of
Right.
6%.
Right,
And
three
then, and then 3% in 1, 2, and 3, which would get them to 6, 9, 12, 15% raise, which is almost what they asked for in 2 years, but they've spread it out. And B gives 3% raises for 5 years, which is, kind of mirrors what we have done in our budget, so. Suggestions that I can pass on?
Well, if we have to go with one, I'd rather go with the second one.
B?
Yes.
Yeah, 3% spread out over 5. That makes sense to me, too.
I agree.
Okay, if you
It'd
guys
be
are good
easier
with
to
that.
handle financially.
I'll reach out to.
3% each year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the next 5. As opposed to 6% next year, and then.
Yeah.
I think this might be a better way to do it. Might be a, now, I don't know whether that, it remains to be seen what decision they're gonna
Right.
make, but at least they're providing
Right.
options, which I think is good, because, the word on the street was, well, they're not gonna budge.
Right.
Well, I think they are a little bit,
Yep.
and I think they heard loud and clear, from the RCC, which I'm very happy that they've heard that. All right, if it's okay with you
Yep.
guys, I will reach out to the RCC and make that appropriate notification.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for open admin? If not, we'll go into agendas.
St. Mary's just said the same thing.
The week of April the 29th, Monday, opioid senior policy meeting at 1 at the Health Department. I'll be attending. 6 p.m. is Taste of Carroll. I'll be attending, I think.
Yep.
Ed, you're
Yep.
going as well?
I am.
That's for Carroll Hospice.
It is a 20s theme night also. Just saying.
Yeah, so that kind of,
Just saying.
that scares me a little bit with you.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Tuesday the 30th, at 10 a.m., we have open session to include the release of our proposed budget, and that's it. On Wednesday, May the 1st, is the Carroll County Board of Education Budget Work Session. That's Commissioner Weaver at 4 p.m. Thursday the 2nd, can you believe it's May already? Thursday the 2nd is the Carroll County Sheriff's prayer breakfast, and all 5 of us will be attending. And after that, we go into open with request approval for grant application and acceptance of award of Cascade Lake. It's that quick, huh?
Well, I have to say something. The prayer breakfast at 7, and we have supposed to have closed at 9. I don't think that's possible.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think so either.
I don't think so.
I just take that off of there.
Yeah, because there's no way we'll get over here by
Right.
9.
I made a
Good.
note to that before you said it.
Good catch, Dennis, thank you.
And please note that if you sit with Roberta Wyndham for breakfast, you'll be eating last.
Yeah. You'll be hard pressed to be here by 10. All right. Public Safety Training Center update, resolution to award airport bond financing. And that's all we have for that day. 1:30, we have the joint, that's for open session. 1:30 p.m., we have a joint Board of Commissioners and Board of Education meeting. That's an away game, and it will be in the Winchester Building. 7 p.m. is the first of our proposed budget presentations at Mount Airy Library. Friday, May the 3rd, is the first Friday business breakfast at Balgers. Commissioner Boucher is attending that. 8 a.m., Commissioner Rothstein will be involved with Carroll Tech Council at one of their events. 10:45 a.m. is the Special Needs Prom at South Carroll High School, and Commissioner Weaver will be attending that. You have a bow tie for that, Commissioner Weaver?
No, can you lend me one?
I'll see that you have one. Okay. At noon, Union Mills Homestead Flower and Plant Market opening. Yeah, I thought that was tomorrow. That's next Friday?
Wrong.
Mayflowers.
I had the wrong Friday. Okay. I said that in priority
Sure.
Carol. It's the next Friday. All right.
So maybe the weather will be better.
It's supposed
Yeah,
to
it might be. Yeah, I had the wrong Friday. Okay. That's at noon, and at 5 p.m., it's, we also will continue with they're continuing with a reception that they're having, and Commissioner Boucher will be attending that. Sunday the 5th is the Commissioner's Report with Frazier. At noon is the Sykesville Annual Art and Wine Festival, Commissioner Rothstein. And at 2 p.m., I will be attending the Carson Scholar Award Banquet at Martin's West in Baltimore. I'll be representing the county there, but I also am proud to say that my granddaughter has been given one of the Carson scholarships. So I know that there are several students from across the county that have been chosen as Carson Scholars, and I want to congratulate all of them, and I'll have more to follow on that, but I'm very proud to say that my granddaughter is one of those.
Congratulations. You could add me to the wine festival as well. I'll attend that also.
The Sykesville one?
Yes.
All right, and then an update on upcoming events is on here, and that's a good place to put this. Again, our budget meetings throughout the county. Eldersburg is May the 1st, Mount Airy is May the 2nd. All these are at 7 p.m., and all these are at the libraries. May 6th is Westminster, May 7th is North Carroll, and May 8th is Tawnytown. And then our budget public hearing is the 13th of May at the Scott Center at Carroll Community College. Anything on that week? The week of May the 6th, Dream Big Union Bridge meeting at 6 p.m. on the 6th is Commissioner Boucher. On Wednesday, the 8th, Farm Museum Advisory Board, myself, and 5 p.m. is the Board of Education meeting with Commissioner Weaver. On Thursday, the 9th, Secretary Scholes is going to be here, who is the Secretary of Economic Commerce. All 5 of us will be attending various events as a result of her visit. That evening at 6:30 is the Carroll County Land Trust Annual Meeting. Right now, it's Wance, Rothstein, Boucher, and Weaver.
Yeah.
See, I knew that, ESP. Saturday 11th is the infamous 2nd Annual Rubber Duck Derby, Commissioner Boucher. And he also has the Commissioner's Report. Anything in addition to that week? You'll note that there's no open session that week as a result of having one of Governor Hogan's cabinet secretaries in the county on Thursday. Anything additional for open admin?
No, just
Very well.
signing for you guys.
We've got some signatures. Everyone have a safe weekend. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.